Take a few moments and call into your mind's eye someone you know who has become injured or sick because of work. Perhaps you need only look in the mirror because you have experienced an injury, or you may be seeing the face of a loved one, a relative, a friend, a neighbor, coworker. Remember, we are fighting to prevent anyone from being hurt because of their job. It's like the old labor saying goes, an injury to one is an injury to all. Safety rights were fought and hard won by workers over decades of union struggles and strikes. So please make sure you defend these rights and exercise them. They're like a muscle. If we use them, we can be strong. But if we don't, we grow weak.
The basics is you're there to assist the membership, whether it be within your local, within your site, with any OH&S concerns they have. There's lots of education out there. There's lots of resources.
Just get to know everybody within your local. Try your best.
We've expanded the communication with our liaisons very purposefully within the committee. When we are having our virtual meetings, we have been inviting the liaisons to participate and really encourage each and every one of you to reach out and participate in those meetings. And every one of you is welcome to join us at any time during those sessions. We really feel that it's important to have a committee member who is assigned to your local, and really important that you two are talking to each other. It is a universal role of communication to really just have those one-on-one conversations at all times. But the other side of that role is the membership. And it's teaching that culture of safety to our members. You are that conduit to that education piece and the importance and value that occupational health and safety plays in our culture of health and safety, and how that can be translated to our workplaces, to our very livelihoods, and to each other as unionized workers, because it really does assist us in that culture of teaching membership their rights under Occupational Health and Safety Liaison, regardless of how it's legislated. It's knowing that we have a role to play in that culture, and really making sure that our membership understands that you as the liaison are so important in that process, and that when there's questions to be asked, you are another resource.
I think a big thing that we need within our locals is to form subcommittees. I know some locals have them, some don't. If we don't, we need to be active in getting one going. There's so much information that we need to share with our membership, and we can't do it alone. We're a team and we need to work together to do that. Another way is to do what are called lunch and learns, where we go out into various sites, which unfortunately we can't do right now, but we could do virtually, and approach the group or the individual with any concerns they may have at that site. It may open a conversation between you and an individual about things that they think are important at the site, and you can bring them into the fold of OH&S.
Find out about training. Get as much training, read up on resources, learn as much as you can. Each local has their own website. Make a little subpage within the website. Add information there and let people know that you're adding occupational health and safety information that they should be aware of within their local.
It's possible in smaller communities where we don't have the day of mourning ceremony. Maybe that's something that you want to try taking a stab at organizing, and it might be a way of finding other like-minded union activists who want to get involved or who are worried about safety. That's always one option among many different ones.
The number one resource that we have at our disposal is the Occupational Health and Safety Handbook, basically, that is laid out by the legislation from the government. The book is about 2 inches thick, but it does have sections that are specific to us as workers on our work sites and how the legislation applies to us directly, and the implications that it has for us as workers. And not only implications, but it could be causations in how we approach this government, how we approach our employers, to actually continue to save the culture of safety that we need to breed within our work sites and within our locals and within our membership.
The OHS Liaison orientation booklet has information on pages 11 and 12 about how you can access the legislation and to use it. You can access it online. I really recommend you consider downloading a copy to the device that you like to use, whether that's a cell phone, a tablet, or your computer. And that way you're always assured to be using the most current version, and it's easy to keyword search it that way. It might be overwhelming at first to try reading legislation. It's not an exciting thing to do, but it's the only way that we really have of holding employers accountable to following the rules. The more you know about the rules and the more familiarity you gain with reading and understanding the legislation, the more confidence that you can have.
The legislation on page 12 is fantastic, but I think my next choice would be the right on page 13. You have a right to know. You have a right to know about any hazards that are at your work site and do something about them. The second thing is you have a right to participate. You have a right to participate in health and safety at your work site, whether that's being a member of a joint worksite health and safety committee, identifying hazards on site, being part of a solution, evaluation to those hazards on site. It's very, very important. You also have a right to refuse. You have that right to refuse any work you consider unsafe. And if you deem it unsafe, your employer can approach another member, but they have to advise them that it's already been deemed an unsafe task by someone else. So they also have that right to refuse. And the most important thing when you're standing up for your rights is you have a right to be free from reprisal. You can bring forward health and safety concerns to your employer. You can speak up against unsafe practices, and you can do it all without fear of retaliation or discrimination.
Worker safety rights have been fought for and hard won through lots of union struggles. There have been illegal strikes, there have been job actions, starting way back even in the 60s and 1970s, before we had health and safety legislation in Alberta.
So if you look on page 31, the highly recommended resources is signing up to the Canadian Centre of Occupational Health and Safety. They send a newsletter every week letting you know what's happening. Plus also there's downloads and all sorts of information to learn about. Then don't forget, call the 1-800 number and you can talk to health and safety representatives.
So that's a really great tip for all OHS liaisons out there. You can reach out to your staff advisor, the MSO assigned to your local, and you can also reach out directly to those union representatives who specialize in health and safety at AUPE.